Assalamualaikum and welcome. We are Group 1 and we today will be presenting about vaccines and vaccination. I'm Alimi and I will introduce to you about vaccines. And what you need to know about vaccines is vaccines, they reduce risks of getting a disease by working with your body's natural defenses to build protection. When you get a vaccine, your immune system responds, and thus, this is where you build special metabolism against the virus. And as time progresses, we now have vaccines to prevent more than 20 life threatening diseases, helping people of all ages live longer, healthier lives. Immunization currently prevents 3.5 to 5 million deaths every year from diseases like diphtheria, tetanus, pertussis, influenza, and measles. But even though vaccines have proven to be beneficial, why do some people still go against it? Why do some people think it's a gimmick, and why do anti vaxxers even exist?
Okay, so I'll be talking about why are vaccines important to all of us. First of all, vaccine reduces diseases that complicate vaccine preventable diseases. So the next one, vaccine helps to prevent antibiotic resistance. Vaccine also reduce infectious diseases, morbidity and mortality. So for my fourth point, vaccines helps to induce herd immunity and it also strengthen health and social care infrastructure. So for the last point, vaccine also helps in equity of healthcare.
Okay, so for the pros and cons on why we say that vaccine is good, and there's also a side effect to it. So the first pros of taking the vaccination, especially COVID vaccine, is they give you protection against the virus. That is indeed the main reason why we take vaccines. The vaccine is likely to prevent contraction of the virus and also carrying the virus and subsequently transmitting it to others. This protection is invaluable, especially for those with comorbidities and the elderly who are particularly vulnerable to the virus. It basically protects every people who takes the virus, but it also has multiple side effects. What side effects are we talking about? Okay, so the primary con to receiving the vaccine is the fact that there is the potential for side effects. What side effects do you ask? Okay, for example, of such side effects include headaches, slight fever pain, swelling, and fatigue. However, these side effects pale in comparison to the impact of the virus. Not everyone has it. It depends on their body after taking the vaccine. But what matters most is whether you are in enough physical health to withstand the side effects of the vaccine. If you are not frail or if you are in your 70s or 80s, there is a chance potential side effects from the vaccine will be problematic. Though uncommon, it is even possible that these side effects will lead to death. It is really uncommon for that to happen. Next, that is the one pros and one cons. The next pros is that you can travel and do as you please. Everyone likes to travel, and it's been very hard for everyone to travel during these COVID days. Once you are vaccinated, you will be able to travel, attend concerts, attend sporting events, visit museums, and generally do as you please in and around everywhere in the world. This is a contrast to those who do not receive the vaccine and are forced to remain at home, living in fear contracting the virus. So, uh, the second con is that vaccines might not protect against variants. Okay, we can all agree that vaccines protect us against virus, but viruses are living things. They evolve, and they have variants. They evolve into something more dangerous. Sadly, several variants of the coronavirus, yeah, are emerging across the globe. Though people, though the vaccines protect against some such variants, it is unknown whether it will protect people against every single variant that COVID has. So for the next pro is that vaccines also protects future generations. Well, vaccinated mothers protect their unborn children from viruses that could potentially cause birth defects, and vaccinated communities can help eradicate disease for future generations. Before the before like everything happened, we all agreed to take vaccine, and that's what keep our future generation going, and that what protect future generation. So the last con to this is that vaccine has a long term effect which is unknown to people. What do I mean by that is that there is no way to tell if the vaccine has a long term impact on human health, as it was created within the past 9 months or maybe a year. It is quite possible that there will be a long term negative impact stemming from the virus years or even decades down the line, yet we will not know about it until it occurs. Now that the cons of the vaccination are out of the way, and also the pros, will carry on to the controversies. The next one.
Thank you so much, Daniel. So moving on to controversies. So the first controversy that we have is the material used for vaccines. This is very off-putting because, for example, the materials used for vaccines are the virus itself, some dangerous elements, and pig cells concerned by Muslims and people of the Jewish faith. There's also another point is there has been many rumors saying that vaccines can cause autism. This is simply not true, but once the rumor started, it spread like wildfire. So the damage is irreversible. Then the third point is vaccines are not natural. Many people will argue that vaccines are just man-made chemical in a lab, and our bodies are capable of handling them themselves. Clearly, they are wrong, but who's to judge? So the fourth controversy is some people have died from receiving vaccines. Although this is true, but the statistics are very low, so it shouldn't be a concern to anyone that a vaccine might kill you because the chances are very low. And the final controversy is a conspiracy starting where conspiracy theorists suspect that vaccines are a way the government to use to track and spy on people by implanting microchips during injection. I have no comment on this, so let's just move on to the next slide.
Okay, so I will talk about how is the vaccine function. So the vaccine is contain some weakened or inactive parts of a particular organism that triggers an immune response within the body, regardless of whether the vaccine is made out of the antigen itself or the blueprint so that the body will produce the antigen. This weakened version will not cause the disease in the person receiving the vaccine, but it will promote their immune system to respond much as it will have on its first reaction to produce the actual pathogen. So there are some vaccine require multi doses, for example, the COVID-19 vaccine. So it given some weeks or months apart. This is sometimes needed to allow for the production of long-lived antibodies and development of memory cells. In this way, the body is trained to fight the specific disease-causing organism, building out the memory of the pathogen so as to rapidly fight it if and when exposed in the future. And I will pass to the next.
Okay, so to conclude our presentation, lastly, vaccination is safe and side effects from a vaccine are usually minor and temporary, such as a sore arm or mild fever. More serious side effects are possible, but extremely rare. Any licensed vaccine is rigorously tested across multiple phases of trials before it is approved for use and regularly reassessed once it is introduced. Scientists are also constantly monitoring information from several sources for any sign that a vaccine may cause health risk. So, moving on.